Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back with another kicking action figure review. Yeah, we have another DC figure for you today, a DC Icons figure specifically. One of the later ones, one of the last ones actually, is the DC Icons Rebirth Superman. Yeah, so they actually first released this Superman in like a 7-pack of the Rebirth Justice League. That was air quotes, by the way. I'm zoomed in pretty far, so it didn't really come through right. But yeah, those multi-packs I feel like weren't anything special. And they didn't come with accessories in the multi-pack, which makes sense because of the price point and all the different figures, blah blah blah. But I wanted the Rebirth Superman, didn't want to get the multi-pack, and then they announced they were going to release the Rebirth Superman and Batman individually. And I was like, yo, I'm so excited, OMGZ, OMGZ. And then they also announced that they weren't going to come with accessories. One of the main things DC Icons is known for, or was known for, now it doesn't exist anymore, which is fine. It was replaced by DC Essentials, which also has a Rebirth Superman, but a different Rebirth Superman outfit, so that was pretty cool. But, yeah, so DC Icons Rebirth Superman, right off the bat, no accessories. That's a flaw. We could have at least gotten some interchangeable hands to separate it from the multi-pack version. I mean, that would have been really nice. Just some hands. That's all I'm asking for. It's Superman. He doesn't need terribly much. He could have got some heat vision like the Supergirl Rebirth figure or something, but whatever. So since he's towards the end of the Icons run, he's a bit bigger than the earlier Icons, which you'll notice in size comparisons. I'm going to show him off with DC Icon number 2. I don't remember which Icon number he was. I already threw his package away. But, yeah. Articulation. Got up and down on the head. Still, I'm like, his head comes up a little bit further than, you know, you would expect from a DC Icon. But that was a big problem with Icons, was their heads didn't come up very far. But he does have a bit of a head wobble. He's got side to side on the head that works just fine. Arms in and out, forward and back, you know, comes up forward. Mine doesn't want to come too forward. You got to really push it. But it's whatever. You got a bicep swivel, double elbow bend. You got a wrist swivel. You got forward and back on the wrists, you know, like that. Works out pretty well. And then on the torso, you know, you got the forward and back on the waist crunch, and it also moves forward and back on this torso joint, and also can go side to side some. So, you know, I think I would prefer a waist swivel, but this works actually, I think. And then the legs, they actually also fixed the legs in later DC Icons, because they couldn't do this before. You see that joint can pull down? Yeah, others like Deadman and Batman and stuff don't get that pull down, so they didn't have as far range of movement, you know? So now he can swing him out forward like this, when that was a problem before. You couldn't do that as well. So that's pretty cool. You can... a bit more posable than early DC Icons. However, guess what's still missing? At the end of the DC Icons run, they said they'd give us some, and they never did it. Instead, they canceled the line. Thigh swivels. No thigh swivels. That's a big problem for posability. But he does have double knee bends, up and down on the feet, and one of the most important joints for dynamic posability, the ankle pivot. So that's that. And now detail and paint is actually quite excellent. I love that blue. Oh, the red looks good. You know, the belt's sculpted very well. And the nice shiny blue on the cuffs. Raised, not just painted on right here. He does have some lettering that was accidentally stamped on top of his foot, but I can live with that. His House of L symbol is completely raised, sculpted on there. That's very nice. His head sculpt is really good. Eyes are painted very nicely. I like his little curl that he has up front. That works out great. You know, the cape I really like. I really like this cape. It sits on him very well. Got a nice clean S painted on the back. Very nice. Very nice. So at least he's excellent looking. I mean, his articulation is not bad. I'd say it's even good. But just, thigh swivel. That's pretty basic stuff for adult collectible figures. Even Mattel has thigh swivels. I mean, come on. But, yeah. I mean, this was one of DC Collectibles' best lines. Replacing of DC Essentials was probably the best move, honestly, since this line got a bad rap at the beginning, and that negative stigma kind of just stuck with it, even when they did improve. But, you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do to make that cash. So, yeah, how about we get into some size comparisons of this guy? Now, I know Superman here is a DC Collectibles figure, but we're going to start out with some Mattel stuff, specifically movie and TV figures. Here on the left, we have the Justice League Batman standard one, not the exclusive. And then here on the right, we have Reverse Flash from the TV show, Flash TV show specifically. Both cool figures. He scales better with the Flash. He kind of scales well with that. You remember the Movie Masters line, what they used to do movie figures in? Now they do them all in the DC Comics Multiverse line, which is what both these figures belong to. But that kind of slightly smaller than Mattel scale is really good for these. And this Superman's actually a little larger than about half the DC icons, like the first half, because once again, they did upscale them. We also got to show them with some Mattel comic figures. Here we have my favorite superhero on the left, Hal Jordan. Specifically his White Lantern form when he has the white ring on at the end of Brightest Day. Not Brightest Day, my bad. He's fighting Cronan Brightest Day. At the end of Blackest Night. My apologies. It's my favorite run. I can't afford to get it wrong. But, yeah, and then here on the right we have the Earth 23 Superman, aka President Superman, one of my favorite Supermen. So is Rebirth. Rebirth Superman is probably my favorite Superman. To be honest with you. I love the family dynamic. I also have the Super Sons 2-pack, which I'll be reviewing at some point, I'm sure, if I haven't already. But, yeah, I think they just look good. I think they look good. I mean, are they too big? Yeah, but this is who I'm going to display him with. I'm just going to have him in the front since he's a little shorter, And lastly, here he is with some other DC Collectibles figures. So, yeah, this is what you guys really wanted to see him with, I'm sure. Here on the left, the Designer Series New 52 Nightwing from the Greg Capullo Designer Series, I said Designer Series twice. I gotta get better at this. And then here on the right, another DC Icons, number 2 in the series, Deadman. Yeah, so you can see the size difference in those two, right? They definitely upscaled a little bit for the second half of the line, because the big complaint was the size. And then they upscaled to try to fix that. But by that time, the stigma had already set in. Oh, they're too small. And then they upscaled them. And it's like, oh, now this line doesn't scale with itself. I mean, I think they actually are finally together. It's Superman. Superman's a buff guy. And Deadpool's, dead. So I expect him to be scrawnier. But, so I think with those two specifically, it works out. But you see what I mean. So all in all, what are my final thoughts on the DC Icons Rebirth Superman figure from DC Collectibles? Well, my biggest complaint is the lack of accessories. They should have given us more accessories. Something to separate him from the multi-pack version. And I'm just glad to have him, to be honest. But interchangeable hands or something would have been cool. I mean, the classic Superman from DC Icons has a Kalex, has different hands, has all this stuff. And then this guy is so barren. Icons kind of, its whole thing was accessories. Accessories. You should see how much Jon Stewart comes with. But then you get this guy, and he's just without. He and the Batman, both without. Probably won't even get the Batman. Honestly, it's kind of up in the air, but probably not. So, final thoughts. Good figure. Worth $30? No. Not really. 25? Yeah. 25's fine. If you can get him for less than 25, good for you. I'm happy I got him. I've been messing around with him a lot. I've had him for a while, and he hasn't gone up on display yet. I know I say that a lot, but that's what happens. You know, my coffee table's just got a bunch of figures on it that I don't want to display because I have so much fun with them. You know, I love to pose them around and all that junk. I mean, what action figure collector doesn't pose their stuff around? If you say you don't, and you're not an on-card collector, in-package collector, you're a liar. You're just a straight-up liar. But, yeah, he's cool. He's a cool figure. But don't pay too much for him, and don't expect anything different than the multi-pack version. If you already have the multi-pack, easy pass. Like, it's not even something you have to consider. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out other cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. But that is it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all later.